What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Celio's Network. So today I just have a quick deck profile for you on the Dragapult VMAX Malamar list that I used in this past weekend Sunday Open. If you've not already checked it out, there is a bunch of gameplay from the tournament that I played in, and I got second place in the tournament. There were 100 players, and it was Ultra Prism through Rebel Clash format. We played 7 Swiss rounds best of 1, and then a top 16, top 8, top 4, and finals. Everything but the finals was best of 1, and the finals was best 2 out of 3. Like I said, there's a playlist on my channel. All of the gameplay is there, and I commentated over the games after playing them. So yeah, definitely check out the gameplay if you're interested in a bunch of different matchups featuring Dragapult VMAX Malamar. And I know people definitely wanted to see the list, so I have it here. There will be a ptcgo export of the list down in the description below. Before we start taking a look at the cards, shout out to PotownStore.com, the best place for you to get ptcgo codes. Use code CELIO for 5% off. And I'd also like to mention my Patreon, patreon.com/CeliosNetwork, where you can become a monthly supporter of mine and get great benefits like premium articles and early deck lists, just like the one I'm showing you here today. This was actually featured in my Limitless Qualifier 3 meta article. This list, among many others, were featured in the article that came out on Sunday, actually the morning of the tournament that I played this deck in. So definitely check out if you're interested in those types of things. Without further ado, let's talk about Dragapult VMAX Malamar. So I decided to test out this Malamar variant in the Sunday Open because it's definitely one of my top prospects for the Limitless Qualifier 3. And I do think that a lot of people are starting to implement crushing hammers. Everybody's playing the Tina from Unified Minds in their Dragapult VMAX lists, and some people are putting Yell Grunts back in after it seemed like those were being taken out, and now they're coming back in. So a lot of energy disruption for the mirror match, and of course you can use it in other matchups as well, but I wanted to use the Malamar line to kind of circumvent that energy disruption, because I felt like that could be really good against most of the other Dragapult VMAX decks that are running Yell Grunt or Crushing Hammers. And even if they're not running that, most Dragapult VMAX lists are running the Giratina from Unified Minds that can put you behind on energy a bit. So that's kind of the thought process that went into the Malamar variant, as well as you can also run some cheeky healing cards like Hyper Potion or Super Scoop Up. I wasn't running either of those in this list. Just the Mallow and Lana, which I have in most of my Dragapult VMAX lists. So let's take a look at the Pokemon here, starting off with the Dragapult line. I do think a 3-3 line of Dragapult VMAX is just fine, since there's so much search for the card. You have 4 Quick Ball and 4 Mysterious Treasures, so there's 8 search outs for the Dragapult V and 4 search outs for the Dragapult VMAX. Dragapult V, in case you don't know what it does Bite for to deal 30 damage for 1 Psychic Energy, and Jet Assault can do 60 or 140 for 2 Psychic Energy if you meet the requirement of moving this Pokemon from the bench to the active during this turn. It has 210 HP, 1 retreat cost, that's all fine, but we're really just interested in Dragapult VMAX, which is what the entire deck is focused around. In this variant, I'm actually not running other attackers. I've seen Dragapult VMAX Malamar lists that run Giratina from Lost Thunder, Blacephalon, Gengar Mimikyu Tag Team, Trevenant Dusknoir. This is literally just a Dragapult VMAX Malamar deck. It's just Dragapult VMAX with a little bit of Malamar thrown in there, really. So we're still focusing solely on Dragapult VMAX. Now, I'm not 100% sure that that's correct. There are certain times throughout my tournament run, and you can see that in the gameplay, where maybe I would have liked to have an attacker that wasn't my 3 prize Dragapult VMAX. So there is some merit to running other attackers, but I really just wanted to focus in on attacking with Dragapult VMAX turn 2 every game and keep it that way until the game's over. So Dragapult VMAX, why is it so strong? It has 320 HP, it's Psychic type, so it has a lot of good support, like Horror Energy from the new set and Mysterious Treasure to search it out. Shred does 60 damage for 1 energy, goes through effects, that could be okay sometimes. And the main attack of the entire deck is Max Phantom. For 2 Psychic Energy, you do 130. Put 5 damage counters on your opponent's benched Pokemon in any way you like. Now, this card might seem a bit underwhelming, but it's really the support of Horror Energy and Giant Bomb or Spell Tag if you want to use that. Those help spread the damage around. And building the list correctly to heal your Dragapult VMAX, I think Mallow Lana is a very important card to have in Dragapult VMAX. And this also takes advantage of decks that are running Jirachis, and many decks like to run Jirachis. It's a very strong card. It's one of the best support Pokemon we have in the standard format. But Dragapult VMAX kind of takes advantage of the Jirachi, since you can easily knock out a tag team and a Jirachi by using 2 Max Phantoms. So that's the focus of the deck, Dragapult VMAX. Now let's just look at some of the other parts of the deck that support Dragapult VMAX very nicely. So we are running 3 Jirachis ourselves, but in the mirror matches you can always scoop up net the Jirachis if they are being damaged, if you want to make sure you don't have threats on the board. But you do play a lot of smaller Pokemon, so there's usually going to be something on the board that your opponent can ping with their own Dragapult VMAX damage. But that's okay, because more times than not, your opponent has something that you can take out on their side of the board. So I feel like it's whoever can run more consistently, who can heal their Dragapults, who can keep the energy on the board, that kind of thing. So we do play Jirachis, and we do play 1 Dedenne for draw support as well, and we're kind of playing this kind of scoop up net engine, I guess, where you use the Primate Wisdom Oranguru. You can switch a card from your hand with the top card of your deck, and because of that, we play the Mewtwo with Mind Report that can put a supporter card from your discard pile on top of your deck. So these utility supporters, Mallow Lana and Boss's Order, we play 2 of each, but really we can just keep getting them back with the Mind Report Mewtwo if we need to. Now, Boss's Order can be very, very strong in the Dragapult VMAX deck, even though Max Phantom can put damage onto the bench. A lot of times you want to hit something in the active once or twice and put things on the bench, and then bring up one of those bench Pokemon that just have a little bit of damage on them and finish off the active Pokemon that had a lot of damage on it, so you don't waste damage by dealing 130 damage to something that, let's say, only has 60 HP remaining or 50 HP remaining. You can gust it so it's on the bench now and hit it with the 5 damage counters for Max Phantom. Do all of that 130 damage to something else with more HP remaining. And like I said, Mallow Lana is very strong in this deck, because in the mirror matches especially, you're doing 130 to the other Dragapult VMAX. You can heal 120 of that 130 off with Mallow Lana. So Mallow Lana can be very, very strong. And let's look at the energy count. So I am playing the 4 Horror Energy and 6 Psychic Energy with a Viridian Forest and the 2/2 Malamar. So I feel like you're consistently getting your energies down when you need to, whether it's just 2 manual attachments or you're using the 2/2 Malamar. This deck is very consistent with getting its energy out, since you play 10 natural energy, 6 basic and 4 special, and then you play a Viridian Forest as well, which can search your energy out, and Viridian Forest can be searched out with Jirachi as well. So I feel like you're consistently getting energy out. And like I said, one of my things about Dragapult VMAX decks is I want to consistently get the turn 2 Max Phantom and then keep it going until the game is over, and hopefully I came out as the winner. We're not playing the Crushing Hammers or the Yell Grunts as disruption, but we are playing the Giratina with Dimension Breach, which I mentioned in the earlier parts of this video. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you may discard a special energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. So it does have to be the active Pokemon, but if your opponent's attacking with Dragapult VMAX and they have a Horror Energy, you can put them back in energy with this. Now, I don't think players are going to cut down on their Horror Energies just because of that, because Horror Energy is a very strong card. If you don't know what it does, if the Psychic Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active spot and is damaged by an opponent's attack, put 2 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. So this is really nice supplemental damage to the Max Phantom. So if you have a Horror Energy, you do 130 and they hit you back. That Max Phantom is kind of like a 150 amount of damage because of the horror energy. So I don't think Dragapult VMAX decks will be taking this card out, but I do think they will be placing it down more carefully, maybe placing a basic psychic as their first and then horror energy as their second energy. But if there's ever a time when you have 2 horror energy on your attacking Dragapult VMAX, you are susceptible to a Dimension Breach, Scoop Up Net Dimension Breach, which can be very impactful, and this actually happened in my top 4 match from the Sunday Open, which is in the Sunday Open playlist on this channel. Some other notable things, I guess we could just look at Scoop Up Net since I've talked about it so much, and Scoop Up Net is one of the best cards out of Rebel Clash. Put one of your Pokemon that isn't a Pokemon V or GX into your hand, discard all attached cards, so this can pretty much pick up anything but your Dragapult line or your Dedenne-GX, and you have reusable effects like Zigzagoon's Headbutt Tantrum that puts a damage counter somewhere. We have the Mind Report from Mewtwo, and we have Giratina with Dimension Breach. I didn't mention Marshadow Resetting Hole, but I do have this in here as kind of a searchable stadium bump. So I do think Chaotic Swell is going to see a bit more play than it did in the Sword and Shield meta, but it can bump Chaotic Swell, don't get me wrong, but I have it here more as just a searchable bump to get rid of something like a Thunder Mountain or a Wonder Lab or a Black Market Prism, just something problematic, usually a Prism Stadium that once we get it out of there, it's gone for good. And since we have 8 ball searches that search the Marshadow, it's nice to have around since we are only playing the one Viridian Forest. So I do think that's all I have to say about this list. I really like the list. If you're interested in more analysis on Dragapult VMAX and some of my other lists for the archetype, be sure to check out my premium article on patreon.com/CeliosNetwork. If you have any questions about that, let me know in the comments. There's also a video in the description down below explaining everything about my Patreon and the benefits and all of that good stuff. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more content like this in the future, and I'll see you next time here on Celios Network.